Hello! Welcome back to Lotus Reverie, first Nexus. Ah, yeah, baby. We got 2 hearts of Columbine. We're gonna get them all 4. We're gonna get all 4 of them. I hope. We hope for that case. We hope for the best. Yes. Anyway, let's jump right in. Anyway, I think we're just gonna speed things up and go for all the main events. So let's go. There are non-Columbine ones? Aw, man. I guess we'll go for Rue. Exploration Diary, day 243. We still haven't found a proper place to start the terraforming process. Maybe there isn't a single oasis on this desolate planet. We'll keep you updated on tonight's new bulletin. Have a good day. How do you go from an astronaut to a news anchor? No such thing as impossible goals if you never stop daydreaming. Although, I'm actually quite thirsty. That's why the oasis thing came to mind. We've been in like a million houses now. Can't you just get some tap water? The investigation trio is together once again. You know the entire trip to the electrical substation was the initiation, right? Of sorts. So it shouldn't happen again. However, that bad with memory through is still firmly entrenched in your mind, so you prefer to keep your distance from him. Rose says a short circuit should have happened somewhere around these parts, so you and Rue are going around to look for answers. The issue is that this electric grid is quite old and goes underground, so it's hard to tell if there's anything wrong on the surface. All you can do is go into every building that the main grid traverses or surrounds, until you find a building different from the rest. That's weird, this door seems to be blocked. When you go find Rose to let her know about your findings, you find her absorbed in her own thought, looking into the sky. What in the world are you doing? Maybe you should have come during the night, but it would have been a challenge considering there's no power around here yet. Why is that? Rose takes a second to snap out of the daze before replying back. I wouldn't be as thirsty as I am now. Still fooling around? I'm trying really hard to visualize the water and see if that helps. How's that even gonna help? Haven't you ever heard that your dreams will come true if you try to visualize them with all your might? In short, no such thing as impossible goals if you never stop dreaming. It's getting harder and harder to believe that you're a scientist at all. Nobody does. Everyone thinks I'm a top supermodel. Not surprising considering this hot body. For better or worse, you learn it as a vastly superior option to just ignore Rose and instead get to the point, explaining your discovery. The two of you go to the building in question and she reaches the same conclusion you did. Usually, just forcing it a bit is enough to get it open, but here it seems that something's blocking it from the other side. That doesn't make any sense. Rue, who had been completely indifferent to the investigation up to this point, approaches and tries his hand at opening the door. Every building was supposed to have been checked before, so there shouldn't be anything blocking any of the entrances. The two of you exchange glances, leaving no doubt in your mind. You know you need to get that door open immediately. While they try to force open the lock, you look around for an alternate point of entry. All of the windows are sealed with shutters and bars, preventing you from even looking inside. There's no back door either, and by judging the distance between the buildings, you would see it's impossible to make a jump on the roof of any of the surrounding buildings. Without any results, you shift gears to more extreme means. Let's stop fooling around. Rue draws a circle on the door with chalk. I see what you're up to. Don't you think it's a bit too much though? While Rose seems to know what's going on, you frown in puzzlement as you try to figure out the purpose of the chalkboard drawing. Is it the magic circles that they were talking about? You know. She realizes the situation and moves closer to explain, still never taking her eyes off the drawing. That's a magic circle, one for explosives to be precise. He's gonna blow that door up. Magic? And he'd draw a circle? We could always blow it away from our direct spell, but that wouldn't be appropriate. Circles allow higher precision, and you can trigger them from a distance, making them the safest option. This way, we can destroy only the hinges, reducing the total damage of the structure, and can take cover from the blast. We don't know what's blocking the door on the other side, so let's try not to destroy any evidence. Although, I will say, it's quite surprising to see Rue actually working for once, and even taking the lead. How is that surprising? How is it not? Rue finishes the circle by applying some of his own saliva to activate it. We take a few steps back for safety. Rue concentrates for a few seconds and the circle softly lights up. Ready? Take cover if you don't want a splinter stabbing your eyes by accident. On the count of 3. 1, 2, and... An immense flood of water rushes out from behind the door, soaking you all the way up to your chest level. You're caught completely off guard by this unexpected development and unable to react, at least until Rose breaks the ice. I'm even thirstier than before. What? Don't look at me like that. Rose, about the body visualization, you can stick it up your... Leaving aside all the troublesome cleanup after opening the door, you're finally able to get inside the building and learn what's going on. The explanation is simple. This is an old building, neither too big nor tall, and in its center there's a small courtyard with rusty pipes on its walls. One water pipe burst, causing it to flood the entire courtyard and the building. Since it was hermetically closed, this house became a perfect aquarium, only missing some aquatic life. Fixed! That pipe shouldn't bother us anymore, but the water bill could cause a few heart attacks. Fortunately for the tenants, they just disappeared off the face of the earth. The investigation proved to be an easy task, and you quickly find what you were looking for. The courtyard appears to have been under some renovations. In the center of the floor, there's an open hole with the power lines exposed, showing signs of water damage. Add the inclined slope and gravity, and you don't need to be a genius to realize the short circuit was caused by the flood. It isn't that weird to see some half-assed construction site after the incident, and an old pipe breaking down isn't breaking news either. Are you sure the short circuit happened here? Rue raises an eyebrow as he questions Rose. She doesn't seem to notice, more focused on her own thoughts, so he continues. You're the one who said there was a clear manipulation back at the castle, but this here looks like an accident, I know. You think you saw a slight smirk on Rue's face for a brief moment, as if he was enjoying this new turn of events. Let's take a step back. Suppose it wasn't an accident. That would mean someone came here and broke the pipe. That's not particularly difficult. Nevertheless, the outage happened while we were all in the castle. It took minutes for all of us to meet after it happened. The chances that a culprit could travel fast enough to get here from there to the castle in a short period of time are slim. Almost impossible, in my opinion. There may be enough time if you consider extra time it takes for the water to reach the wires in the hole, but only if they were used a fast vehicle or something similar. Impossible. Don't you remember Columbine was patrolling the walls that day, and Thistle was up on the tower keep? The city is silent, and there's nobody out here. They would have easily heard a car approaching the castle. Both Rose and you turned your gazes to Rue at the same time. Oh yeah, of course they were conspiring together. I will note that you can even see the courtyard from the castle. The outage and everything happened at night, but all the streets were well illuminated. Even if the building interior or the courtyard was pitch black, a lookout would still see all the movement in the street without a problem. I was even on the tower keep before Thistle arrived, so I should have been able to see or hear any vehicle if there was one. That would rule out all the castle members, wouldn't it? Your introduction takes them by surprise, and they frown in your direction. I mean, maybe they could have rushed all the way back to the castle, but they wouldn't have any time to go up the towers or walls. I've gone up to those endless stairs. They're not a thing you can climb as if they were nothing. If we considered the risk, the only way that plan would have worked if we would have been an accomplice on duty. But if either Columbine or Thistle was the accomplice, the other one would have reported anything suspicious. This means both are actually cleared. Just like that regulation of 3, right? There may be a pair of co-conspirators because of the Rose and Topher relationship, but a third person wouldn't get anything out of it. Even if there was another unknown reason, it's too risky to trust someone else considering how in end only one pair will remain. Your words should sound encouraging, but they create the opposite direction, opposite result, especially on Rose. Or, well, maybe there was something prepared in advance, some sort of system to break the pipe by itself. That's impossible too. The way Rouge shakes his head smugly in stark contrast with Rose's worried and thoughtful expression. There are no traces of any kind of contraption or system. Explosive would have left clues behind. If it was a chemical reaction, there would be traces on the metal. If magic was used, there would be a circle left somewhere. There aren't even any traces of a tool used to break the pipe. I highly doubt the culprit could punch it without leaving any kind of mark on their hands. Maybe the water erased the magic circle. A circle cannot be easily erased, even if it was infused with aura. Even if it turned invisible, there are ways to detect it. There are no such signs or traces here. Maybe the culprit just came back and cleared up the evidence. Don't you remember how the entry points were all sealed? Why would they leave the entry points blocked if they were supposed to be open from the previous investigations around the city? Maybe they climbed the outer wall of the building. Then they would have been taking the risk of being seen by the castle watchmen, since we always have a few people on the tower and walls. And let's not forget, going out of the castle is strictly monitored under the rule of 3. I mean, it's improbable, but not impossible. There's only one option that makes a lot more sense. It was an accident. Rose interrupts Rue. Her words sound confident, but that veneer of confidence starts to crumble as she continuously bites her lip. How do you know that? You told us there was a clear manipulation of the system. I was wrong. Rue looks away, clearly skeptical. Rosemary tries to explain her mistake. I never said it was 100% not an accident. It just didn't look like the part with the evidence we had before. I'm not saying I agree with Rue, but it's out of character to make an error or something that's supposed to be easy for you. No matter how basic it may seem to the untrained eye, all you depend on me to provide this knowledge. You can treat everything I say as lies, but there is no one else with expertise on this subject who you can ask. So in the end, you wouldn't have any other choice but to believe me. Besides, the powder outage ended just fine with nothing bad happening, right? No one had any other motives to perform a malicious act, so an accident is currently the only viable explanation. Rose touches her hand to her chest, asking you for your trust, but Rue doesn't seem to concede that so easily. I believe you, Rose. To be precise, I believe the Rose from the other day. There's one other possibility that works much better and doesn't involve anyone rushing to the castle or back. After all, we have such an even number of people living in the castle right now. You're saying it was that woman in white from the rumors? Woman in white? Your composure falters for an instant and you press your hand to your forehead. Of course, Sink knows nothing about this. Not long after the incident started, there was this rumor about a woman dressed in white who would kill anything on sight. She was supposed to be there in the area around this castle, in fact, but nobody ever saw her with their own eyes. But that rumor was more than enough to make many people flee to the other side of the river, far away from here. How could those rumors even appear if she did kill everyone who saw her? That's nothing but a tall tale to spread fear and panic. No such person exists. I don't care if it's a woman in white or a woman in black. What I know for sure is that there must be someone else in the city who hasn't shoot the face yet. Don't you agree? But we control all the food sources and the surveillance system. Nobody should be able to survive in this part of the city without finding out. Without us finding out. I'm asking you straight up. Does a possibility exist? Yes or no? Rose lowers her head, taking a deep breath. Do you really think we should bring out the possibility to light? You'll only sow mistrust amongst the group. It's better than deluding ourselves with a lie. Since when do you care about any of that? I thought you were on Thistle's side. Rose simply shrugs, unfazed. And it's not a lie. Perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe the manipulation in the castle has nothing to do with this. That's just a possibility. One that may create a huge impact on depending on how we explain to the rest. Or we can just explain the entire truth and let them reach the same conclusion I did. That won't help us in any way. Still, either way, we need to reach an agreement before coming back. Let's make a democratic vote. Sink, what do you say? Me? It's up to you. It's not like I was planning to explain it myself. We have to make sure we all come back with the same story, so Sink, you decide. We can try to be more optimistic and explain from the perspective that this was an accident, which I repeat is a real possibility. Or just explain it as it is, which increases the chance of an 8th player. A conjecture that is not remotely proven. Please keep that in mind. What approach will you take to the rest of the group? There may be an 8th person. I agree with you. It is not our right to involve ourselves in what others choose to make of this information. Rue looks in your direction, looking surprised at your choice. It's not because of you, Rue. I'm just in favor of not withholding the truth. Rue makes a gesture, sealing his lips. Rose lowers her head, visibly annoyed, and kicks the floor. If that's what you want, Sink, then you'll have to help explain so nobody freaks out. I'm counting on you, my assistant. Rose forces a smile and returns to her usual happy attitude. In exchange, I'll see some of your sweets. I need them to de-stress. Don't you even dare. Seeing them revert so calmly back to their usual selves is a sight that would make anyone forget the implication of your current way of life, at least for a moment. A life full of both unknown and unknown dangers, which can only be confronted as they come. A truth and reality that must be faced. Now you'll have to wait and see if the rest share the same strength. I could never match what she gave me. Oh, the hospital. No running in the hospital.
¡No corren en el hospital, cabrones! ¿Cuándo has visto a niño que luce que esta es el primo grado? ¡No, estúpida! ¡Adiós, gracias! ¡Dije que no corren!
I love that episode of Ghost Story. You should watch it. It's good. No running in the hospital. The hospital is the only place you haven't investigated so far, right? Why is that the case? At your words, Hugo's and Violet's spirits are visibly dampened, their face turning worn and troubled. The hospital did get investigated. However, some people involved with that house aren't very trustworthy, you could say. That's why we're gonna take a look now, honey. Don't forget to take it easy. Visiting a hospital doesn't usually evoke happy memories. Our priority is to identify when the amnesia of yours happened. I mean, for all I know, I could be involved with the traitor you all avoid mentioning. Helio and Violet catch up into your intention and exchange glances. She tilts her head and shrugs, leaving Helio to explain it. It's complicated. Let's just say we have an unspoken agreement not to mention him. He broke one of the regulations. We found out he would be leaving the castle on his own in secret. But did he do anything bad beyond that? Not really. We have no evidence of him trying anything malicious, in my opinion. No, at least. Then why is everyone so reluctant to talk about him? It was kind of like a punishment for him and warning for those who still at the castle. You already know how things are around here, right? Thistle explained it. Just think, in the time before you arrived, there used to be many more people around. Little by little, our numbers have been diminishing. It's hard to accept it, but we all have moments of weakness. There are many who end up breaking the regulations and losing everyone else's trust. Some did it out of necessity, others out of mutual mistrust. I don't blame them. It's not our current situation, of course. You have nothing to worry about. As long as you follow the regulations, everything should be fine. And if there comes a moment you cannot, then that's not gonna happen. Everyone at the castle is really nice. You can trust everyone in our group. Until then, we can live comfortably and enjoy ourselves. And as long as we have a macho man like Helio to protect us, there's nothing to fear, isn't that right, handsome? Of course. That's what I'm talking about. Despite the circumstances, they clearly know very well how to recover an atmosphere of levity, switch the subject and resume the walk as if nothing ever happened. Or such a situation has just happened too many times. You arrive at the hospital to find its interior to be as spooky as you were expecting. The city's external silence you had already grown accustomed to pales in comparison to the gloomy atmosphere of this place. No wonder hospitals are overrepresented in horror movies. Don't be afraid, girls. As long as you stick together, there's nothing to be afraid of. I've worked in places like this for way too long, silly. I'm used to it. I find it quite pleasant. It's clean and calm. Alright, to be perfectly precise, if it's only Helio who finds this place spooky. Did you know hospitals are the most common places to hear psychophonies? What's that? The voices of the spirits and the dead, especially if those who cannot find peace. After all, this is where they died. Voices of the what? Yes, I see. That makes sense. I repeat, there's nothing to be shy about. You can be honest with me. Let me know if you hear anything weird. No need to raise your voice so much, Helio, or you're trying to communicate with someone else in here. No, I'm just worried about you as a gentleman. If you're afraid, you can tell me. How about splitting up? That way we'll cover more space and Sync will be able to achieve greater focus. No. Of course, no problem. But will you two be alright by yourselves? Why, yes. I can take this chance to look for a couple of useful things we ran out of the castle the other day. I would like to go upstairs if you don't mind. Then what are we waiting for? Both of you girls accept the plan and take different paths. Helio remains in the same place, petrified, waiting for his cerebral cortex to restart. Hey, if you're afraid, you can tell me. I'll take charge, for reals. And if you aren't afraid, you should... First plan. Looking for some way up, you walk through a long hallway lined with flickering lights. Dim flashes briefly illuminate the darkness, accompanied by a perturbing buzz. You suddenly turn around, but see nothing. And when you look straight ahead, you notice the elevator mysteriously descending by itself. This building isn't that tall in the first place, but the numbers change slowly. 6, 5, 4... Shivers ripple down your spine. You feel a cold and metallic sensation rubbing against your neck. There's nobody behind you though. The sensation disappears when you bring your hand to the neck. 3, 2, 1... Are the numbers still moving? The elevator bell announcing its arrival deafeningly loud in the silence. The door takes an eternity to open. But when it happens, it's too late. Because you got tired of waiting and already took the stairs up. All that remains back there is a surprised young man looking dejected as the elevator door closes again. Second plan. Upon reaching the new floor, your eyes adjust to the dark depths of the long hallways once again. Frowning, you try to catch the glimpses of your environment. It's all at this moment you're lost in thought that you hear a soft dripping sound next to your feet, where you find a puddle of blood. You follow the red threads trailing up the flight of stairs to the next floor, towards your destination. You slowly take a step back. You can hear a distant giggle coming up from there. Your eyes dart back to the hallway, desperately searching for something. And then, you take a wet floor sign and put it in front of the stairs to avoid any future accidents. Then take another way up. 24th plan. After many other calamities you prefer to forget, you finally reach the top floor. Your footsteps echo along this long hall, attempting to drown out a contagious banging noise. Something you can't ignore. An ajar door and that crude noise coming from the other side, squeaking and rattling as if something was violently shaking one of the beds. You hold the doorknob carefully, trying to get close. The noise grows even more aggressive and cacophonous. You check your surroundings first, then take a deep breath. The intensity of rattling only increases to a new height. And suddenly, you close the door. Latch it closed. Lock the door with two heavy barrels that were just lying around for who knows what reason. And just leave, cheerfully whistling to yourself. You're in one of the rooms on the top floor, carefully inspecting the furniture. Deeply buried in your investigation, it's not until someone knocks the door that you react with a small jump. Hello, can I come in? Violet picks from outside door and comes inside. Anything new, or you're having fun playing with Helio? I don't know what you mean. He was the only one fooling around. He's just trying to add some levity into the situation. Don't be so serious. Or maybe he isn't your type? Violet draws closer to you. You frown, looking away. I was just asking, sweetheart. Who knows? This could be to help you remember something. Or maybe you had some other person in your heart before you came here? No, I don't think so. You look down, your eyes lost in your robe for a few seconds. Don't worry if you can't remember anything. Don't try to force it or talk before you're ready. You know what they say about being king of your own silence and slaves of your words. Oh wait, you may not remember that whole verb either. Violet presses her temple with a finger, her face making an extravagant expression to make you smile. I know the saying. Don't worry, I'm not that bad, Doctor. That just makes me feel old. Just call me by my name. I'm only a few years older than you. Not like anybody could tell. Hey! No, I didn't mean it that way. I'm talking about your mental maturity. It hasn't been that long since I woke up, but you've been a great help, Violet. Of course, what were you expecting? I have a lot more experience in the survival business after all. Now you really do sound like an old lady. Hey! You laugh at Violet's trembling. Her face flushed in annoyance. I've prepared a few first aid kits using materials from this hospital. I was thinking about giving you one and teaching you how to use some healing magic in case you need it, but if this is how it's gonna go... My bad, I'll listen. I was just joking. And you're truly young of heart and also of face? What a kind girl. That last part wasn't even necessary, but I'll take it. I'll say, flattery works in much better on Rose than me, though. I'll keep that in mind. Violet hands you one of the first aid kits she prepares, then starts her lesson about how to use it properly in combination with magic. You unlock your first aid spell. Oh, that's gonna be so useful! And during the first prologue scene, oh my goodness, I couldn't go... I kept on dying. Oh my goodness, this would be so much help. Yes. Violet continues her lesson and just finishing up the last few details when you suddenly interrupt her. Why are you doing this? At first, Violet looks at you in puzzlement, but soon sighs and smiles. Because someone has to do it. You don't really understand her answer, despite how sweet it sounds, and she sees the incomprehension on your face. I know it feels like I'm lying just to save face, especially if we consider the end that awaits us. But I firmly believe that what I do has value. It's the same reason why I studied medicine in the first place. The same reason why I always worked in an intensive care unit. It was a non-stop battle to save the life of a few while watching the rest perish. Did I sound dull? You're probably thinking I'm such a bore. You shake your head, thankful for Violet for her answer. If that is all then, shouldn't we head back? The others must be worried. The girl leaves, but you stay for a moment. You can't help but stroke your cheek, still burning from her caress. Her fortitude, her motives, everything about her catches your attention. You finally move to follow her back to the hospital entrance, but not before taking one last long look at the room behind you. You return to the hall, waiting for Helio so you can all go home. You have no idea what the guy is, so Violet went to find him while you wait in place. You're not really sure if you're missing anything. It's not like you were getting anywhere by thinking about it, so examine one of the nearby vending machines instead. Lost in your thoughts, you feel a touch on your right cheek that snaps you out of your daze. The touch of your hand inches closer to your lips. How many times have you tried to scare me already, Helio? Were you calling me? Helio's voice comes from your left, as the boy grips you with his eyebrows raised in doubt. Then what's touching your right cheek? You see it as soon as you turn around. A black slender hand glides across your face until it covers your mouth. You slap it away with your elbow, turning around and backing away to keep your distance, but... She. This strange humanoid animal appears right next to you again, bulging eyes, sharp laughing grin. You trip over yourself at its sudden appearance, clenching your jaw. It's impossible for you to move around normally. You have to do something, say something, but all that comes from your mouth is gibberish that you point to the creature. Then you look at Helio and he also laughs. Now you're scared. Alright, good job, you can leave now. Your jaw falls open. Helio only used a single hand gesture to make that creature disappear, leaving behind small light spheres that quickly dissolve in air. That was harder than I expected, but I knew I could do it. This should finally prove that. Wait, what should this prove? I don't even remember. Helio walks over, offering his hand to help you up. You're still too shocked to even listen to him. Your breathing hasn't calmed down. Are you alright? That was just a joke. Come on, let's go. You can't hear a single word coming from Helio. All your strength goes back to standing up as an agonizingly deafening ringing fills your ears and it feels like it's splitting open. What? Helio's voice vanishes. You can't even see him in front of you anymore. Your body writhes in pain and all you can feel is the presence of emanating from the main entrance at the end of the hallway, where a figure you barely manage to recognize covered in white robe waits. You try to hold onto your weapon with one hand as the other clenches your forehead, trying to resist a terrible headache. Even as your body sways, you try to keep your eyes fixed on the woman in white at the end of the hall as she steps ever closer to you. You can hear her distorted voice, impossible to comprehend, but somehow you can sense the meaning behind some of her words. You took those two from my life. You cannot replace me. This is my responsibility alone. He should remain by my side, not yours. The individual sentences quicken in speed, overlapping and blurring into one another, the word mixing into an incoherent jumble, finishing with one smile. Congratulations, now your dream can come true. You can't move. The swaying stops, the noise disappears. Only you and her in its empty vacuum. A sudden scent of sea salt drifting into her nose, still unable to recognize her face. The woman in white raises her katana, brushing its edge against her nape. It starts with a thin cut, but soon the blade slices through like butter, opening a new path without effort, deeper and deeper. Smooth, delicate, the blood draining out, the skin tearing little by little, until you feel a skull about to fall off your shoulders. Sink! Sink! Helio shakes her shoulder. Are you alright? What's going on? You instinctively scramble away from Helio with one hand while the other clutches your forehead. Your eyes look immediately to the end of the hallway. There's nothing there. What just happened? Are you asking me? You suddenly stopped moving and stared off into space. If that was your revenge for before, you totally got me. I'm really sorry I scared you, really. By the time you finally manage to calm down, a new interruption appears. This time it's Violet coming from the other side of the building. Aha! There you are, Helio. I was looking for you, but it seems Sync found you first. Helio releases his grasp off your shoulder, stuttering. Then you whisper. If you say nothing, I won't say either. Helio smiles proudly before moving over to Violet, trying to hide what just happened. In any case, shall we leave? I think there's not much more to see here. I hope coming here turned out useful for you, Sync. You nod without much conviction, then follow Violet out of the building, trying to hide your uneasiness. One more time, as if nothing ever happened. I'm getting everyone's hearts. What's the same way our blood gave life to that little world. Alright, guys. I thought we were gonna have more Columbine events, but they're not popping up. So I guess we'll have to finish all the main events before we go to Columbine again. I guess. Anyway, comment down below what you think of this episode. Suggest some games for me to play. Like if you like, dislike if you dislike. Subscribe for more content like this. I do a lot of visual novels, so you can look forward to that. And I think that's all. Thank you for watching and have a good day.